They just pretend they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ebonair, if I can read this correctly, is in like depth 39. So let's
Yeah.
try D. Oh God. Okay, so this is a maze area, right? Or Pac-Man.
Hold on. I'm trying to get into it. I had to
Oh,
restart my putty instance. All right. Watch Ebonair.
Yep.
Yeah, I think. Oh man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are either. Yeah, they're in the castle area now, so
Okay.
they are actually about to ascend.
Okay.
Um, just sending random messages to people, being all friendly. So yeah, they're on turn 86,000. Have and their armor class is -26. Low armor classes are good
Yep.
in Nethack. And
That's also a D&D thing, right?
that's a D&D second edition
Okay.
thing. So in second edition, the armor class calculations were kind of weird, and negative armor classes are good. And they way simplified it in third and 3.5. And then a bunch of people balked. And then fourth edition simplified things further, and then a bunch of people balked. And it's kind of, you know. So, but anyway, the stat system in NetHack is loosely based on Dungeons and Dragons second edition, but there's some key differences that I've read about and looked at and just went, no.
Yeah. There's an instructor at the University of Waterloo who's really into, like, I think he started his career kind of working on like Tolkien studies, and has subsequently become sort of the game studies person there. And like I want to sit him down and have a podcast or something like that, and just talk about sort of the Tolkien influences on a lot of really early games, because it's really fascinating. You know, Colossal Cave Adventure, a lot of these really seminal things had not only like Dungeons and Dragons, but also, because they were so close, like you had a lot of J.R.R. Tolkien stuff. I mean, Tales of Magill used to be Tales of Middle Earth until they kind of realized they wanted to make some money off of it, and they kind of had to not be using that IP. Holy crap.
I've never seen an orange dragon before.
So I also sent them a message and said, I see you're about to ascend. Good luck with that.
Is there a way we can look at his inventory?
I'm not sure.
I think we can just look at them looking at their inventory.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a lot of what looks like a lot of really solid gear. That's my expert opinion. They've got some good gear.
Yeah. Here, let's watch this. Let's watch this for a while, and then I think let's try starting our own game and kind of show off what the beginning of the game looks like.
Sure.
Yeah, you can spectate me, because I get the impression I know a little more about what I'm doing here.
Yeah. As far as I still look up commands as I'm going through, and actually, well, most of the net hacking I've been doing has been on my phone, which is really funny, because at one point I was trying to. My wife is really into like a variety of different casual. I don't want to say casual games, but like she gets something out of them that I don't.
Yeah.
And as someone who wants to kind of talk about them, because I don't know if they necessarily deserve to be just completely sloughed off.
Oh no.
So at the time, she was like, I was highly critical of Candy Crush Saga because of all the stuff that King had been doing.
Yeah.
And she was just like, well, okay, I get where you're coming from, that you don't like it, but you should probably give it a shot before you just start saying terrible things about it in public, which is actually, it's a really good point. So at the time, I installed basically Candy Crush Saga, and I'd sort of reinstalled NetHack because I hadn't played it for a while. And I was kind of going back and forth between
that was your first mistake.
Yeah, basically I was going back and forth between the two of them, and I was playing a bit of Candy Crush, and I finally was just like, this is all randomized, but when I get through to another part, I don't feel like the sad part is, like, I don't feel like I've retained anything. I don't feel like I've I've gotten anything out of the experience, which is really funny because it's if you're playing a game, you shouldn't be getting anything out of it anyways. In some cases, the idea of play is that it's not inherently useful. But I felt like I was still getting more enjoyment out of dying in Nethack, even though I was only going 2 or 3 levels down. But like all the commands are across the bottom of the screen.
A play is useful to its own ends, I would say. So a good play is useful to its own ends. So when Nethack, you have a quality experience because you get down a few levels, you die, but you've learned something about the game, and you can play better and longer next time. Mm-hmm. Candy Crush, and you can maybe learn some strategies, but because of the high degree of randomization and the reliance on in-app purchases and such things, it's harder for it to be useful within itself.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. So yeah, inevitably I wound up deleting Candy Crush Saga, but I had a point there at some point, and I don't know where it went. But I'll probably be getting Emily to sit in on... I want to do Desktop Dungeons at some point, so I'll probably be getting Emily to sit in on that. Mostly because I've been meaning to show it to her for a while, because I feel like she would probably get a fair bit out of that game.
Yeah.
And I want to say that someone is doing a match 3 roguelike out there, aside from 10 million, which is pretty close to that. And she actually beat that game. Hats off to her, because I still have not beaten it.
There's some interesting comparisons there, especially like even just ignoring Candy Crush and going back to some of the early PopCap stuff, so Bejeweled, Alchemy, those sorts of things. There was discussion around the procedural death labyrinth about different types of procedural death games. Mm-hmm. So Super Hexagon might be a procedural death gauntlet. Yeah. And Bejeweled you might call a procedural death puzzle because you keep going until you run out of time or moves or whatever you have, depending on the mode you're in, and then you have to start over from the beginning. But presumably, next time you go in, you're better at the game.
Yeah. That's true. And also there are certain moments where that randomness will just get you. Like you will run out of moves, that you will hit a certain point where there's nothing you can do to get yourself out of this situation. It's probable that your doom was foretold several moves back. You just didn't see it coming and you weren't able to act, and now when you realize that it's coming, you can't do anything. And you either have to just quit or see things through to the end and then start a new game. And that totally happens in Candy Crush. Like it's almost thrust upon you in Candy Crush at a certain point when they start, goosing you for microtransactions and paying for more lives or share on Facebook or whatever. Like you hit a certain point where sometimes you will just, you're just relying on the randomness of the game to work in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, we just killed the Wizard of Yendor.
Yes, by the way, yeah. Anybody who's watching, that's impressive.
Yeah, so that means we're close to the end, because isn't he the one that... Yeah, that's the Amulet of Yendor. Real close to us, isn't it?
Yep. Scroll of Create Monster.
Yeah.
An uncursed Book of the Dead.
No, you have to get the Book of the Dead and then ascend and get the amulet.
I just remember that they have to fight the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Oh, right.
So I feel like they've got a few...
Which again was one of the things that got added into this game because the creators decided once again that it was too easy.
Yeah, as you mentioned last week, that the fact that it was winnable was considered a bug. I thought was a really good way to talk about this game.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Because the way it's presented when you die, you die and you get to the high scoreboard, it really feels like it's designed more like a, almost like Galaga-esque arcade game where you go as far as you can and get as many points as you can before your inevitable doom.
Yeah, it's really, and it's almost jarring that way. It's like, you've died, by the way. Like, there have been times where I've figured I still had a couple moves left in me, and then it's like, no, you're dead. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to identify the stuff that you have? I was like, no, I just had garbage. Like, way to rub it in my
And then
face, game.
and then you press identify. It turns out you didn't have garbage, and you had like 5 healing potions and had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been the most interesting thing is, I used to joke that I would play Nethack like spring break. I would just drink potions no matter what. Like, just whatever, woo! And just like zap anything, and like typically I would just murder myself.
Oh, they engraved thanks on the floor for
Yep.
when you said.
Yeah, they were actually responding as I was messaging them, which is like, I guess I should probably message them and say, hey, congratulations on killing the Wizard of Yendor.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird interaction mode, though, because it's like they're receiving random messages from, some sort of celestial being almost, and writing messages in the dust on the floor in response. Like it's that's really cool on how that's embedded into the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, what are they saying? You engraved in the floor. He's just, engraving in the floor with his, +2 staff, no big deal.
Yeah, that doesn't use any charges or anything like that, though, right?
No, I think it only does that if you do it with a wand.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a chance of damaging it, but stabs, it's safe. If you have the magic marker, it's safe.
Okay.
Which, that and like the credit card, some other things, there's just like some really jarring, goofy moments in this game that kind of seem to run counter to the theme.
It reminds me a lot of Zork.
Yeah.
In that respect, where it's just like, don't tamper with the mail. Like, it has these weird unspoken anachronisms that they kind of break it, but I still find it kind of silly.
Yeah, well, there's a whole section of the dungeon we were talking about earlier, the rogue levels, that are a joke tribute to the game it was based on.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean the engraving Elbereth and what that means within this game. Like, I would have never ever figured that out. Who figured that out? Like, was that ever documented? Like, that's
I suspect someone looked at the source code.
Yeah.
And,
that's what happens. Like, basically, the rarefied knowledge eventually kind of links back to, you have to have a bit of code.
Okay, we're about to use the candelabra of invocation. It's glowing with a strange light.
I'm super glad that we were able to prevail upon someone who's this far into the game.
Okay, so yes, this is the ascension process. So they have to use the candelabrum of invocation. They're ringing the bell of opening, and reading from the Book of the Dead.
Oh my god!
Wow! Whoa!
What? Oh right, don't they have to go to hell?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Which is another. Hell seems to be like a weird kind of understood default bonus level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's present in Spelunky.
Yep.
It's present in Cave Story.
It's certainly present in the Doom roguelike, but I mean that's probably just the source text coming through. But I don't know. Have you played Doom roguelike?
No, you told me about it last week, and I hadn't gotten a chance to touch it yet.
I think I mentioned, but yeah, Derek Yu had a hand in making that. It's the guy who went on to go and do Spelunky, also did the Doom roguelike, and it looks like they made an announcement that they are. Oh, that guy just is fighting a Master Lich.
Yeah, he's fighting
five
things at once.
And a Minotaur. Holy crap!
All right. Oh, okay.
But so yeah, the Doom roguelike is really worth it's really worth a look, just in terms of it's a little bit different from Doom. Like, you have to worry about clips and you have to worry about like bullet conservation and.
Yeah, we got some questions from Miniature Catfish. So why build this sort of winnable narrative into a procedural game, and why not have an infinitely generated procedural dungeon?
This is fairly dramatic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of tell them that we are streaming this.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, I think they'll be. Hopefully, they won't be angry slash weirded out. Um, but why have a definite endpoint? That and it's. I feel like part of the appeal of NetHack is that there is a goal you're working toward. You'll probably not reach it, but still that feeling in that air and just kind of the ability to kind of visualize the dungeon and everything around you. Oh man. Yeah, he read it, or she, they.
yeah, they. Oh no.
They should have asked first.
Maybe. Well, it's kind of hard when you're in
Yeah,
the middle of already streaming, but
yeah, but
and they, like if they're already kind of online.
they're broadcasting this anyway, so I don't feel bad about it.
No.
Um,
Uh, yeah, it's that tension between procedurality and narrative is always really fascinating to me. Just seeing how they tie that together.
yeah, so miniature catfish. What's amazing about the plot shape of NetHack is that it's so clearly not designed to be rhetorically compelling.
Yeah,
It's not the 10-hour game or 5 act plot, and that's totally true. I actually have so many roguelikes.
yeah,
Like there's definite sections, so you could almost call those acts, but it really almost always boils down to get to the bottom, grab grab the um, MacGuffin, get to the top,
yeah,
or just go to the bottom, grab the MacGuffin, and live for maybe Spelunky or Risk of Rain.
yeah. Or like yeah, sort of Fargul. I don't know if things can necessarily be stolen from you on your way up in NetHack, or if you
I
actually have
know
to go all the way to the top again.
you do have to go all the way to the top.
It looks like Ebonair might have. Oh,
Hi all.
hi Ebonair. I don't know if you're tuning in or not,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, thank you so much by the way for
yeah,
streaming or at least playing this. If you are listening, this is really cool.
yeah. Um, so yeah, you are so much better at this than us.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
very
Thanks,
cool.
man.
All right, awesome.
I'm tuned in. Cool.
Great. Hi.
Hi.
Um, yeah. It's the. Sorry, I'm just trying to read Miniature Catfish's comments as well, right here.
Yeah. I. Yeah. Um. The plot. To a certain extent, it's the plot shape of D&D campaign. I mean, what a D&D campaign is can vary wildly from person to person. That's kind of the beauty of the tabletop format.
It's been many years. I guess they're probably referring to earlier comments.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that what the amount of effort it takes to get good at this game,
Yeah.
and
Oh God.
oh god, that is I don't even know what those are. They look terrifying. Holy crap!
Oh. So they just opened up a monster room, right? Monster closet.
Maybe they had an uncanny feeling.
All right, they hit an ice wall. Oh,
I'm really,
ice devils, and
I am really intensely emotionally invested in this now.
yeah, I don't know if we're going to show the earlier stages of the game. I kind of want to just keep watching this.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Look at all those
Yeah,
letters.
so we have. Wow. Yeah. So for those of you who may be unfamiliar with NetHack, every one of those letters and ampersands is a monster. Oh, it's a graveyard.
Yeah, so. Thank you very much, Ebonair.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ebonair is our guide to
all those
NetHack today.
Z's and because of the general depth that they're at, it's there's a lot that like a lot of very powerful monsters are kind of coming out of the woodwork here. because of the late stages of this game, which I've been pretty squishy every time I've played, so the fact that they're just waiting right in there is incredible. Oh, they're all sleeping. Okay.
Oh.
They need to be... Oh, we need to be quiet. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry we're being too loud on the stream.
I hope we don't wake up those zombies.
I'll try to be quiet.
Okay, so yeah, apparently, according to Miniature Catfish, there are 4 of us here, and all 4 have played the early game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but we're recording this for later, so for the benefit of potential future viewers on Twitch or YouTube, trying to go through this at a somewhat of a base level.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really impressive. I'll probably let the stream run. Like, there might be a cutoff point where we'll, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I can probably have a really long video of this. I'm quite content with that. We're seeing a lot of higher level things that I'm only peripherally kind of able to understand. But they're eating wraith corpses, which corpse eating is very important to Nethack, by the way. If anybody's, like just tuning in or has never really played that, or like even my low level of understanding of that is that it's really important, especially if you can kill a floating eye and get a bit lucky early on and eat their corpse. That'll give you telepathy, which I think you have to be blind. You need to have a blind.
You have to be. There's 2 types of telepathy. I forget what they're, but one means you have to blind yourself to use it, and the other is just constantly on. And from the looks of things, our friend Ebonair here has had telepathy, because I've seen them watching monsters walk around in other rooms. However, they're dealing with a lot of undead stuff right now, so the telepathy is going to be less than effective.
Yeah.
Plus, there's mind flayers, which, if you have telepathy, can hit you from across a level with psychic blasts.
That do a fair bit of damage, if I recall correctly. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they have so. I see.
What I like is also the different colors denote certain members of a species. Like a number or an icon will denote a species of a monster, but then you'll have differing colors to sort of show what type of monster they are. So, for example, like a minotaur is like a brown H or something to that effect, but there will be another H for a humanoid monster that it would be a different color.
Yeah. I thought humanoids were all at signs. Or is it that just the humans and the elves?
Yeah, I think like so looking at the wiki hack, minotaurs are H's.
Cheater.
Sorry. Yes, I'm cheating. So yeah, I think if it's classed as a monster, it's an H. Whereas if it's a class that or a race that you can play, then it would be an @ sign.
Except for dwarves.
Yeah, that's a good point. That hack is inconsistent.
Shame on that hack.
How can we be expected to trust it anymore? Oh wow! Did they just backstab that pit fiend?
Pretty sure.
Like they just dragged the. Huh.
So, if you didn't catch that, Ebonair is now feeling weak. So, if they don't eat soon, they're going to have some serious problems. Yeah, they are fainting from hunger.
Okay, they've got royal jelly if they need it.
Yeah. So they're going to eat the barbarian, or no? Okay, no, they're eating the royal jelly,
which is pretty important, I think, in later on, like getting a bunch of that stuff. I can't remember why though.
It's the most nutritious thing in the food in the game. Oh,
Oh,
right.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, spellcasting and wearing rings uh, increases your hunger.
Huh. I didn't know that about rings. I'll have to keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. Brogue, which you've streamed previously and we've talked about.
Yeah, we
It
should do that
actually,
with your later game
yeah, I need to send that
recordings.
to you. But you probably shouldn't trust NetHack anyway. But yeah, Brogue actually, if you look at the README, it's very explicit about the fact that wings do not cause hunger. It like
Yes.
the creators, like if you go through the documentation, are very aware of the fact that a lot of their players are going to be people who are probably at least somewhat familiar with NetHack.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you've listened to the roguelike radio interview with Brian Walker.
No, yeah, the name's right. I haven't listened to it though. Yeah,
Uh, it was really fascinating to hear them kind of basically say like, how do you feel about Brogue being basically easy in the early game? And he's just like, well, I know that there are people who have played a lot of roguelikes and are really, really familiar with the mechanics. But I've put systems in there that like make those levels go very quickly. I'm not interested in making them harder because someone
right.
who's just coming to this game for the first time and has never potentially played a roguelike, like basically talking about that as though it was a foreign concept to these people who obviously are very heavily invested in very classical, hard-nosed roguelikes. He was just like, no, I want this game to be fun for other people too. Which was really fascinating to kind of hear him just sort of gently explain it to them. It was, I don't know, it's a really good interview though to hear him kind of talk about it. It's really fascinating because he's not interested in charging for it at all. Like there are people like, you should put this on Steam and you should charge for this. And he's like, nope, I like making this. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
Which is
it's kind of going back to the like kind of the open source spirit that made NetHack such a success to begin with.
yeah, and there are some people out there that will vehemently argue up and down that if you're charging for it, it's not a roguelike, which is really like, as someone who grew up liking, hardcore punk and stuff like that, like I can appreciate that sort of like hardline DIY sort of thing, but on the other hand, not at the expense of actually seeing some interesting stuff come out, like Teleglitch
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like if people want to release stuff for free, that's totally cool, but I also want to, like, I would totally give Brian Walker some money because I think Brogue is phenomenal, and I want to
Yeah.
just say, hey, here you go, like voting, some sort of support. But
Yeah, and there's systems like that, like especially, I don't know how familiar you are with open source software communities, but there's Flatter, there's GitTip,
yeah,
there's tons of systems in place for that sort of thing.
yeah,
I don't know how interested Brian Walker is in accepting that sort of thing,
yeah,
but if the development of Brogue was going to be supported in any sense, I
yeah.
suspect that would be it.
Well, and it also kind of, that argument also sort of falls apart when the roguelike of the year, as voted by the general community that follows these things for like the past 3 years running, has been Tales of Magil, and that's available on Steam. Like technically, you can still sort of get it for free if I recall correctly, or you can get some variation of a free version of it.
Same with Spelunky.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And actually, it's really funny. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't necessarily play a lot of the HD version of Spelunky, is because I spent like a solid weekend doing nothing but playing the original free version of Spelunky. And like, I own Spelunky on almost every platform that I have, and yet, because I'm a crazy person, and well, technically I got it on PS3, and then it just carried over to the Vita and stuff like that. But and it was really cheap on Steam. But
Yeah.
and also, I just think it's a really good game, and I want to support it. But I'd have not put the same amount of time or effort into it that I did the original game.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I never put that. I put some time into the original, but I never put that much into it.
Yeah, I think the daily challenge stuff that they're doing is really interesting.
It's brilliant.
Especially from again going back to Mia Consalvo's like gaming capital sort of thing. I think what makes roguelikes sort of this interesting thing that that has this kind of following in terms of streaming it and showing it to people is the randomness. In some cases, you know, like you are going through a level that you will potentially not see again. I mean, there are ways around that. There are ways to, you know, Brogue still, you can save your map seed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're basically encountering something that can't be. You can come up with general strategies, but for the most part, you can't plan around it. You have to just learn.
Oh, geez, we are surrounded by beetles.
Oh God.
And soldier ants. Go Team Ant.
Yeah.
No, don't go Team Ant. We want
we
to make it out of this.
Go team Ebonair.
Yeah.
And a priest of Moloch, which hilariously, the Moloch is the god of like excessive costs or something like that. I used to refer to grad school as a Moloch. Like basically that it demanded a sacrifice that was not really worth it.
Yeah. Did you hear? Did you hear the 99% Invisible episode about the modern Moloch? Modern Moloch? Vehicles actually were referred to as the modern Moloch when it used to be a thing that pedestrians could just walk through the streets.
All right.
So and then pedestrian culture changed so that people were restricted to sidewalks. So Moloch is this kind of persistent figure through history as the symbol of this of excessive costs and death to a certain degree.
Yeah, I guess it was a god worshipped by the Phoenicians and Canaanites, and apparently had association with with basically child sacrifice. So like a very hefty cost. Which I can't think of a better example for that as also with Nethack in terms of the amount of time you have to put in this game to get to where you go, and you're literally just faced with a priest of excessive cost.
The amount you said you have to face the Four Horsemen layer, and just the number of different mythologies that contribute to this game. It's just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, especially some of the samurai influences. Like I was not expecting them to go as deep into that as they kind of did in terms of finding thematically consistent weapons and stuff like that.
Well, it's not even everything. If you're playing as a samurai, all the weapons, or most of the weapons at least in the game, have different names. Like they're still the same weapons, but they just swap the names around to be consistent with Eastern weapons instead of Western, which is a little bit disingenuous because of the differences, but it's still meaningful.
Yeah, to the point that someone went to that effort to sort of to do that level of research, whereas it would have been. I don't think anybody would have been surprised if Nethack had just stayed this sort of Western-focused, Tolkienist romp where you just kind of it was all broadswords and bastard swords, or broadswords and battle axes or something like that. It was really, I don't know. It was the first time I played through as a samurai. I was really kind of surprised at just the level of effort that someone had to go through, even though maybe it was just find and replace, or like this conditional. This object has a different name if you're a different class.
And are they
just walking through fire traps here? Sorry, I didn't mean.
Yeah, but all their armor is protected. So.
Oh, so they're just waltzing through all of this stuff.
Yeah. Bunch of fire traps. No big deal.
Yeah, I guess I'm watching their HP, and it's not really moving.
Yeah, and I saw them get down to into 400s a moment ago, and it shot straight back up.
Wow. I want to know their secrets.
Lots and lots of time.
I want to be a terrible save scummer, and just let me copy that save file, just so I can study it.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. I will cop to in Doom Roguelike because I wanted to see how far down that rabbit hole I could go. I save scummed in that just because I wanted to keep seeing how. Oh. Oh, high level equals regen.
Uh, oh, right, yeah, once you hit a certain level, you get health regeneration.
Oh,
You get
okay.
a really good health regeneration.
Yeah, I did save scum and Doom Roguelike just because I wanted to get as deep as I could into that game. And, man, it gets super hard. Like, kind of unreasonably so, to the point where, like, you step off it doesn't quite have the same level of depth, obviously, that something like Nethack has in terms of,
Right.
at a certain point, it just gets bastard hard and is
Yeah.
kind of, there's no way around it,
Hmm.
except for just making a beeline for the next exit.
Yeah, to be fair, like very little has the depth that Net has.
Yeah.
Um,
I've heard that the adventure mode in Dungeon, or not Dungeon Keeper, in Dwarf
Dwarf
Fortress,
Fortress,
is very robust.
incredibly.
Uh,
It's basically you have all weird little physics engine things and other elements of normal Dwarf Fortress. You're just controlling a single dwarf and have some different objectives.
they're profaning someone's throne. I think the high priest of Moloch.
Yeah.
Oh wow. By the way, apparently Moloch wants Ebonair to suffer. What? Did you? Did they just?
Yeah.
Did they just kill Moloch?
They killed the High Priest of Moloch.
Okay. It was just saying Moloch for a while. So
Oh, we have the Amulet of Yendor.
All right. Although maybe that was the first thing they got off of, or was that? Did they just?
No, they just picked it up off the High Priest.
Okay. Cool.
So
literally,
and the amulet starts draining your energy as soon as you get it.
Great.
And now you have to get to the top.
That's insane.
And we're at level. So the amulet's at level 50. Oh, we're getting talked to.
Hooray!
Yay!
Oh God! Someone is
Go Ebonair. I love our role here as like celestial sports commentators.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
We're
Like-
rambling
like-
about other stuff, but occasionally we'll actually watch what's going on, and then oh man,
and the person we're observing will occasionally take their time to talk to our
Yeah.
cosmic beings.
that's fantastic. Ebonair, you are a champion for tuning in and then also responding to our nonsense in the middle of kind of like I have to imagine you've ascended before. Like this is just no big deal for you, but
Going back all over your previous
like-
messages to us.
if I were in their shoes at this point, I would just be shaking. Because I can't fathom how much. I can't fathom how much effort this must take. Did they just jump over a magic trap?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, they've ascended twice previously.
Nice.
Wow. That's impressive. Wow. Okay. So they basically just have to run all the way up as
The amulet like drains at their energy.
that's incredible. So by draining their energy, do you mean like their strength is at 18 out of 52? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I just see it say you feel the amulet draining your energy away. Not sure exactly what that means.
Okay. Maybe
They're losing. Oh, I think they just lost a spell.
or they're hungry?
Yeah.
Like I could see that being
Yeah, I see that they're hungry.
maybe
Yeah, they're taking off rings.
a cursed -1 helm of opposite alignment.
Yeah, so helms of opposite alignment are really useful because you can use them for altars. Gotcha.
So the Amulet of Yendor makes spells cost more. Okay. So sorry, you were saying about the helms of
Yeah, so helms of opposite alignment, like they're one of the main cursed items in the game that's actually really useful because what you can do is it allows you to basically change your alignment on command, so you can do things like use altars that you wouldn't usually be able to use, or there's certain things that you can use it for to tweak luck. It's a really big like advanced play move.
Okay.
Um,
Well, they're killing quantum mechanics.
they're just doing the job, man.
Yeah. And I assume the Lich's Touch of Death has just a chance to straight kill you?
No clue.
As we were talking, they were fighting a Master Lich. And it said, oh no, they're using the Touch of Death. Which I wasn't sure if that meant that they had a chance to just kill you, or just...
So thou could kill me, fool.
Oh, the Wizard of Yendor, I imagine, just chases you as you go through the levels? Uh-oh. The death ray bounces.
That's not a thing you ever want to hear.
Your head suddenly aches very painfully.
No.
They have a lot of gold pieces, too.
Yeah.
I love that when... Oh.
Yay!
Again!
Stay dead!
Really attack the orcs.
Well, if it'll
Yeah.
prompt you if you want to attack peaceful monsters or not.
I've read of some levels, like higher level moves in Nethack, where some people will just fill an entire level with slime. Like I've heard that's one strategy to kill the horsemen.
Huh.
Like if they don't have anywhere to respawn, literally on the level, they won't respawn. I don't know.
Hilarious. Oh, we just had a cockatrice. So we're not doing it now because we're just trying to get out, I presume. But you can actually pick up a cockatrice corpse if you have gloves, and beat things with it to.
Okay.
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 So if you have a bunch of those, you can just
fill up the level and... Uh-oh.
Yes.
You momentarily stiffen. So yeah, the cockatrice corpse can be wielded and used as a weapon.
Yeah, and you can like hit things with it and turn it to stone. But you have to be really careful with that, because if you accidentally touch it in any way, so if you like fall down some stairs...
If you walk past a mirror or some kind of mirrored surface as well, like walk over some kind of like a fountain, I think. Basically, if there's any sort of chance that you're going to see your own reflection or stumble as you go down.
Okay. This asshole's back.
Great. So I guess this is probably what you're talking about when you're getting your Ascension kit together. Like you need to have a bunch of resources at your disposal to deal with.
Yeah, like you have to have a mirror so you can deal with Medusas. You have to have candles to put into the candelabra. There's this whole like laundry list of things that are either required or highly, highly, highly recommended.
I can't fathom putting 30 hours into this game and missing a couple of things and being so close to the end and dying. But I feel like these runs are probably where you die the most frequently. Like when you get to a certain point and knowing how to play Nethack, this kind of stuff is probably where it's the most dangerous. I don't know. I'm guessing, but
yeah.
Okay. Too much dead air. Too much dead air.
Yeah. Are we? I'm just fascinated, completely fascinated by this. I've never seen a giant mimic before. I've seen small mimics. I've seen normal mimics, but I've never seen a giant mimic.
Isn't there some benefit from eating mimic corpses as well? I'm just
You
fascinated.
will
I'm fascinated with the idea of eating corpses. I don't know why.
if you eat a mimic corpse, then you will feel randomly compelled to turn into objects, unless you have something that allows you to control polymorphing.
Oh, okay.
At which point you can basically just turn into a prop or something on command, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it ever advisable or a reasonable thing to polymorph into another monster and play the entire game that way?
Not the entire game, but it can be beneficial if you're playing as a female character. You can Some monsters can lay eggs. If you lay an egg and carry it around, it will hatch. And if you laid the egg while you were polymorphed as a monster, then it will be loyal to you.
Oh, that's a cool idea. I mostly, whenever I play, I do typically pick a female character.
Yeah.
Oh,
Elbreth.
there we go. They just engraved Elbreth, and
Yeah.
that looked like that was an instant engrave.
If you have, well, I think certain things will allow you to.
Just immediately.
Oh,
Oh, this looks like this is getting real tricky here. You got a Grey Dragon and a Archlich.
Yeah. Okay, the Archlich is dead. I think the dragon's dead. Dead.
That wasn't even a full Elbereth, but the Archlich ran away.
Well, like as you're attacking and stuff on the space where the Elbereth is,
right?
There's a certain chance to rub out a letter or two.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, unless you have a magic marker, which makes it relatively permanent.
Huh. Yeah, it's as much as I will chide Nethack for being sometimes just really obtuse with a lot of its mechanics. I have a great deal of respect for how much just the developers' commitment to adding completely crazy extra mechanics.
This jerk.
Just never leaves you alone. It's like, hey, you want to hang out?
NetHack is okay. We have reflective armor, so we're safe from death rays.
Oh, that's good.
We colloquially, but NetHack.
Yeah, the royal we.
Yeah, NetHack is honestly, by a lot of metrics, not a well-designed game.
Yep.
But it's a very robust game. It's a very fascinating game, and if you're willing to make the investment into it, it's
you get
intensely rewarding.
And I think that's kind of the thing that is true of a lot of. That's true of a lot of. And I actually use the term procedural death labyrinth rather than roguelike, but I feel like that's true of a lot of games along those lines. Where it's not necessarily limited. Like I think Spelunky gives that to you. If you put in that time, you're going to get something out of it.
Yeah, have you seen the article that's about Spelunky in the World Series?
No.
So
I read the Polygon Eggplant Run one, which was
no. What it is there was one World Series where the winning team won on an obstruction call, and basically saying this player was in the way of this player running. Like, it was intentionally in the way of this player running to the base, which means that play was invalid and they should be allowed to proceed on the base, and that wound up winning the World Series for them. And it was talking, but if you're playing a just pick up game of baseball in your backyard, there's no such thing as an obstruction call. Or if you make an obstruction call, you're considered kind of a giant jerk.
Yeah.
And so the same thing is true of different levels of play in something like Spelunky, where you start, a standard player, maybe what you might call a normal player, will, be, maybe just struggling to get to the mines or even just finish the game. They'll use the tunnel man shortcuts, and they'll use like all the advantages given to them. And then you get into higher levels of play where you're trying to get high scores, and you start introducing new rules and aspects to the game, like fighting shopkeepers.
Yep.
Waiting around for the ghost to show up because the ghost will turn any gem it passes over into diamonds.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching. I a friend, an online person who has contributed to First Person Scholar before, Austin Walker, who's I think friends with Phil Killar, which I don't even know how that relationship came to be or anything like that. But Austin's at University of Western Ontario, and he was streaming himself playing Spelunky, I don't know, sometime in November, and I just tuned in to watch, and the part that was driving me nuts was like when I was younger, I used to play a lot of Bubble Bobble, and so Baron von Blubba would show up. He was a ghost whale, and he would chase you, and basically he was instant death. Like if he touched you, he was very much like the ghost from Spelunky, and whenever he showed up, because I was much younger, he just stressed me out, and I couldn't deal, and I would usually quit the game or I would die. I would mess up. I would not keep my cool when this guy would show up. So I was watching Austin as he was trying to do this, like he was doing the daily challenge, so he was trying to draw the ghost over top of the gems so that he could get more value out of them. And I'm in the chat just flipping it. I was like, just go to the eggs. It's right. Just go. What are you doing? The ghost is here. That means you need to get the fuck out. What are you doing? And he was just like, nah, I got this. It was just like, I can't deal. I can't deal with that. But yeah, that's, being able to anticipate those things and not lose your cool.
Yeah. Way to just levitate over that water, by the way, Ebonair.
Yeah. This is pretty impressive. Seeing how like they've just traversed basically 19 levels
in the past 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, should when we get this, we should probably cut this in 2 parts and just make the Ebonair stream like one entire
Ebonair's run for
the top.
I can't look away. I need water, and I need a beer at this point now. I need popcorn. This is really thrilling. I don't know. I hope people are in the stream are also enjoying this. Oh, great. But
anyway,
also posted that.
So back to that Spelunky article, though.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
Drawing parallels between like low-level Spelunky play and low-level baseball play, and high-level baseball play and high-level Spelunky play, where rules and aspects of the game kind of reveal themselves to you as you get better and more into the game.
Yeah.
And Spelunky is really good at that. Nethack is okay at that, probably less so because you'll to progress very far, you need to develop some really intense knowledge. Brogue's also okay at that. I feel like Brogue has fewer maybe emergent qualities than Nethack, something like Nethack or Spelunky even. So I did some really fun stuff with cursed items on that recording. I'll have to find the turn number.
So I wrote an article, I guess, around this time last year. I'll just post it in the chat. Basically about the idea of voluntary constraints in games. And I actually I don't know if I necessarily mentioned it in that version that went on in that article, because again, it's been a year since I looked at it. But I was talking about the Nuzlocke challenge in Pokemon, which is actually, they basically turn Pokemon into a roguelike. If a Pokemon faints, you release it. There are a lot of hard-nosed constraints that make playing Pokemon very difficult, but it challenges the embedded narrative of Pokemon, where it's like you're getting these deep-seated connections to all of these pocket monsters, and it's like, well, not really. I'm just catching hundreds of these buggers and kind of using a few of them, but I don't really feel particularly connected to them as long as they keep winning these fights.
Mm-hmm.
And so by sort of forcibly constraining yourself from sort of the exciting, the more egregious kind of problematic animal parts of it.
Here's the mind flayer I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
The helmet is blocking their head, so I guess they've got some kind of helmet that's. Oh, is it just
But,
those are just a straight attack? It's not trying to do the
yeah.
psychic blast thing.
Yeah. It did the psychic blast earlier, but we're high enough level that it didn't do too much.
I find it interesting that, if I recall correctly, the Mind Flayer was the H. It's the lowercase h, which is
yeah. So we're throwing daggers at it right now.
The strongest physical monster in the game is the Minotaur, but the strongest sort of psychic monster is a lowercase version, like lowercase letter of, I don't know. Looking for, I imagine there's something to be done for those kinds of like weird cases, and I don't even know if they were intentional, but that was close.
Yeah. No, the psychic blasts are killer.
Yeah.
Like I had the misfortune of having on one Mind Flayer once when I had telepathy, and I was just like instantly dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nethack actually had, but with those constraints, Nethack actually has that coded in.
Yes, that was what I was. Yeah, that was what I mentioned. Was your conduct, the idea of conduct, or the idea of, you do a vegan or an illiterate run, or like a pacifist run,
which is just insane.
Yeah, getting some kind of experience points through other means.
Yeah,
which I don't even know how that would work. But someone did that with Skyrim, didn't they? Like, I want to feel like PC Gamer did an article where someone.
We're looking at, okay, so we have never genocided any monsters.
Okay, there we go.
Never polymorphed an object, never changed forms, and we haven't used wishes. So that means when you genocide a monster, that there's certain items that allow you to just kill all of a certain type of monster. The wishes, that's fairly self-evident. The never polymorphed an object, also self-evident. And what was the fourth one they had?
Wishes, genocide,
polymorph, and
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was there for a split second. Yeah. Could we see those again? Actually, up in there.
Sorry. Oh, there we go.
It never changed form, so they never polymorphed themselves, which means you can't step on any polymorph traps. You can't turn yourself into a dragon or anything. So that's pretty impressive. It's not none of the really like intense ones like the vegan run, the vegetarian run, or the vegan run, or the pacifist run, but still, like, it's impressive if you ascend without using a wish.
Yeah.
Because when you use a wish, you can. There's actually guides on the Nethack wiki of what you should wish for based on what class you have.
Right. Yeah. I also love that if you wish for the Amulet of Yendor, it gives you a fake Amulet of Yendor.
But it still drains your health. It drains your energy. It just doesn't help you win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it just doesn't. You can't ascend with it or something like that. Like, I think if you get to a certain point, it just won't let you proceed.
Yeah. Just some.
But yeah, the idea of sort of playing against the game's rules, or sorry, I'm just reading Miniature Catfishes. If we're going to define gaming capital, we need to separate social capital related to gaming views from, a more particular sense, the attitudes, knowledge, experiences, and habits required from being immersed in gaming. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Jesper Ewell also has a different kind of approach. It's really interesting to see all of these scholars kind of touch somewhat on the idea of sort of streaming and what does that wind up meaning. But Jesper Ewell did The Art of Failure, or released a book called The Art of Failure last year, which I maybe had some unkind things to say about on First Person Scholar, but
Bordeaux. Did I pronounce that right, Miniature Catfish?
Yeah. That's a good point. I would have to go back and reread what I wrote, because, again, I was just kind of posting it, just thinking about voluntary constraints because you were talking about some of those challenges, which I still think that the idea of that stuff is really interesting, and I think that there is something to be said for.
We're fighting Asmodeus now.
Okay, my attention is split between a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. The art of, I was not super sold on the Art of Failure, but I've not been really impressed with a lot of what Jesper Juhl has written so far. But that I won't. I've said enough in the first person scholar article, and we actually removed one incendiary line at the end of it because I was kind of mean to him, and he wound up commenting on it.
I wondered where he was. I wondered where he went. So I guess Asmodeus just disappeared earlier. Now we're running into it again up here on level 17.
Wow!
He's the purple ampersand there.
So I guess Asmodeus just kind of teleports around and is invisible, or you feel vaguely nervous.
He runs away as soon as his health gets low.
Oh, okay. I agree, Nethack. I also feel vaguely nervous.
So these gravestones we keep seeing are kind of a pain because they could either be luck stones, which increase your luck, which make you luckier and keep you from becoming unlucky. Mm-hmm. It could be a rubstone, which or a whetstone, which lets you basically identify if gems are actually valuable or just worthless. Or it could be a lodestone, which weighs incredibly heavy, which weighs a bunch, and it's cursed, so you can't drop it.
Yeah.
But they're all greystones, so you can identify them by kicking them and seeing if it rolls or if you stub your toe.
And so those gravestones, those are populated by player deaths, right? Or
is it a different... greystones, not gravestones.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, gravestones will be populated by player deaths, or they'll just be little jokes.
Yeah. But if you wind up on a grave level, there'll be a ghost of that player, and you can hypothetically get some of their gear. And
yeah, but most of it will be cursed.
Yeah. But I want to say that on this Telnet server, I think it's basically populated by other player deaths. I think.
Yeah, it saves the bone files of all the players, which adds a really cool kind of passively massively multiplayer element to it.
Yeah, well, it also kind of makes me think of Dark Souls and Demon Souls.
Yeah,
those blood stains where you kind of get those. That I have to believe that the people who played Dark Souls were at least somewhat influenced by stuff like this.
Oh, without a doubt.
The idea of these kind of obtuse sort of characteristics, and
the roguelike influences on Dark Souls and Demon Souls are just completely undeniable.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
And to that end, I'd probably like to stream that at some point.
If just for the comparison, yeah. Do you have a Dark Souls for PC?
I do.
Excellent.
I don't know if you've looked at my Steam library, but it's pretty bad.
It's I've seen. I saw the number. I have it. I didn't look at the details.
That's all you need. Yeah. Oh God. I guess the upside to actually having a full-time job for most of the past 6-8 years now.
Yeah.
So doing school stuff part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Is then, just putting away basically $20 to $30 from some paychecks and just be like, all right, this will be Steam sale money.
Yeah.
Just this money will evaporate around Christmas.
What I usually do is I'll just buy a bunch of stuff from the Steam sale, and that'll be my games for most of my games for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I actually played through most of Dark Souls on PS3.
Yeah.
But when it was $7.50, I wanted to see about.
Wait, why do we have a malignant aura around our sword now?
I don't know.
Also, a sense of deja vu. Oh yeah, because you forget what levels look like. when
Oh, right.
with the mind flayers.
Great. Um, oh, there we go. Well, that's handy. I guess they just cast a spell of map or
Magic
whatever.
mapping.
Magic
Yeah.
mapping. So I played.
There we go.
I put like 80 hours into Dark Souls
Yeah.
on the PS3, but I wanted to force the co-op with Emily at some point, and so we went down a dark hole of reading guides on like how does the matchmaking in Dark Souls work, which is really fascinating to think about and like look into how does this like kind of pry the lid off of that aspect. And apparently, like when you start the game up, it creates a pool of like IP addresses, essentially. It creates a pool of like basically players that you can potentially ping, and the longer that you have the game running, the more that pool populates. After about 30 minutes, you've got like a solid pool. So, like trying to, for example, like put down your summon sign over and over again, that's actually not the strategy that you want to use. So we wound up finding a way so that the two of us could kind of hop into each other's games. Because on my end, I wanted to get through as quickly as possible because I'd played through it, but I wanted to try a different class.
Right.
And so it was just easier to kind of pull Emily into my game, and then also she'd never played it. She just kind of watched me play through on the PS3 and was kind of interested. So I would hop into her game, and she just had someone that was like kind of a ready-made helper who kind of knew the ropes a fair bit.
Nice.
But if we got invaded, it was terrible. It was, for the most part, I was not equipped to deal with a lot of the invaders. That's what NetHack needs. It needs invaders.
No.
Well, technically, I guess this is what we are. We're just showing up and sending random messages.
We're friendly though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've had friendly invaders as well in Dark Souls, which is I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Dark Souls 2. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be a couple days of my life.
We're so close.
Yeah.
So that down staircase there, the right angle bracket, that'll be a down staircase.
Yeah.
Oh. Miniature catfish, those damn lodestones. Yes. Intensely agreed.
I want to know what the sick brags were from miniature catfish.
Yeah, the Wizard of Andor is kind of an invader. It's like, hey, I'm alive again.
That's true. You just have this jerk that just kind of keeps showing up as you're going through, and
okay.
Invisible stalker.
By the way, these invisible stalkers and cockatrices and stuff, these are not normally on these levels. They just show up once you go down and try to come back up again. Oh man, okay. This is it.
Is it? Oh god.
Okay. You've already identified all your possessions? Just trying to get Colin Amulio. Real? Oh, making sure it's the Is this a way to make sure it's the real Amulet of Yendor?
You can't rename it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if it's possible to actually just get an Amulet of Yendor through the normal processes, but then...
Now he has to face... Oh god, what's the...
Prove thyself worthy or perish.
This guy again.
This guy again. He...
Oh man. And the level just says end game now.
That's fantastic. Yeah, there's no depth.
Yeah. So suddenly, it's like it's like, you thought you won, but now face the true boss.
Because we're in
It's
the
like
amulet,
that kind of trope.
the amulet of life saving, which is
Yes.
all right.
All right, Minotaur. We got a Minotaur, the Wizard, and Elven King. So 3 of like the most powerful creatures in the entire game.
Just kind of hanging
all
out around
attacking you at once.
and they're barely denting their health.
Yes. Okay.
They just took out the Elven King. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. What are we
They
doing?
just took out the Elven King. Scroll to create monster.
Yep.
Spellbook.
All right.
All right. You feel vaguely
I'll
nervous.
just because. Oh, so if you read a spellbook, read multiple spellbooks, then you get better at that spell.
Yep.
Huh. Never knew that.
A map coalesces in your mind. Okay, they're taking out something. Oh, is this... I guess they're looking in a bag?
Yeah.
Okay. Blessed orbit
It's,
detection.
I'm guessing the orbit detection is the archaeologist's quest item. So
Oh,
each class has its own kind of separate quest that's special to them, and you get a special item out of it whenever you use it, whenever you complete it. But they're
right.
usually hard. Um, all right, we're in 2 weapon combat mode now.
Nice. Just getting ready.
Yeah.
If this were Rocky, there'd just be Eye of the Tiger playing.
See.
You hear a chugging sound. That's just me playing on the next level down. Quaffing everything in sight.
Oh, what did I just drink? Acid.
Yeah,
Oh well.
whatever. It's just a flesh wound. So it looks like...
I didn't need that esophagus.
Yeah. Esophagi are overrated. Esophaguses? I don't know. So did they have to do something... Did they have to do something to open up that pathway? Like, it looks like they cast something that created it, or did they just walk along it? I can't
That's
tell.
a great question. Ebonair will probably tell us when they're not surrounded by stuff and they can write again.
Yeah, there's earth elementals and golems. I'm watching their HP, and it's
Just not moving.
it's not moving. It's incredible.
Also, I guess it deposits all your money whenever you get into the end game. Oh.
Oh, interesting. Okay, they're just beating up some earth elementals. Something is graved here.
Where even is this, like, as a location? Like you climb up the stairs and then you just get teleported into another realm, I guess.
I suppose.
Are we? Oh, I think we're. Are we digging? Is that what we're doing, or?
Maybe. I guess they did learn dig, so
Yeah, they got the spell book of dig, so now they can dig through and try to get to the that area that we mapped out over.
Just eating giant stone elemental plane of earth. So they're just eating giant stone.
So much
dig. So they're just eating elemental corpses as well.
Yeah.
Which, sure, hey.
Yeah, why not?
Whatever you need to do. Oh man, it is coming down outside. Yeah, that's the thing. It was supposed to rain today, and then the place where I work, there's not really any windows, and so I went outside and I was like, all right, great. It'll just be wet outside, and there will hopefully be less snow. I was like, nope. It was kind of that midpoint between snow and rain.
Yeah.
And just traffic was not moving, so it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get to my wife's work, which usually only takes me about 10 minutes or 15. And yeah, it was just
It has been a lovely. It has been the 70s Fahrenheit here in Texas. Which has been absolutely lovely, and I have not had to contend with ice or elemental planes of earth that I have to dig through.
That's great. I've had to have elemental planes of snow that I've had to dig through, like to the point where we've run out of places to put it. Like, my neighbor is probably annoyed at me because I have not shoveled my driveway in a couple weeks, and I was just like, nope, I'm just waiting. Like, there has to be something will come and melt this snow, but I refuse. I've given up. That's that. I don't know. That's the thing that's been driving me nuts about some of the responses in Canada to like people in the south getting ice. It's like they're like, they don't know how to drive in the snows. Well, like, yeah, they never get it. And also, we have infrastructure built up to deal with it, and we screw that up every time.
Yeah. We had this conversation on Twitter, didn't we?
Maybe. I might have ranted about it. I felt like it was kind of a really crummy thing for people to be doing. Just like it's like like these are people out there just trying to get home and getting into like terrible car accidents that are probably going to be a life-changing event for them. Like, I don't know if they necessarily need your mirth right now.
No.
So yeah, it's been a really ridiculous winter, and then my folks are like, I remember this when I was growing up, and it's like, okay, Sure thing. Whatever.
So Nethack.
Yeah, so Nethack.
I'm just
completely unrelated to snow. Okay, so
your knowledge of the spell is twisted. So I guess was that another mind flayer effect?
I don't know.
Like there's so much to know about this game.
Yeah, I've been trying to play wizards more frequently just so I understand them, but I don't tend to last very long. I just need to play in wizard mode, I think, for a bit and just survive long enough to kind of start seeing more of the game and get a better handle on some of the other mechanics. Because I feel like if I last longer with one character, you forget spells over time, or something like that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever made it.
Yeah, I don't think I made it to 20,000 turns, but that makes sense. So I guess you generally keep those books around and then read them. It's fascinating to look at the different magical systems in RPGs.
Yeah.
Especially, taking the stuff from D&D, where certain magical types can only cast spells once a day and stuff like that.
Right.
And looking at that, I always find, especially within the confines of fantasy, the magical systems sometimes say a lot about the world that is kind of been created. Like Guy Gavriel Kay is a Toronto author who does some like historically influenced fantasy writing, and he wrote Tigana, and he wrote like there are two different types of people, and it had to do with like connection to the land. And to be able to cast spells, like one type had to cut off two of their fingers so that their hand literally resembled the physical place that they lived, which is this peninsula that looked like a hand with three fingers.
Wow.
So it's like that kind of level of detail is really fascinating to me.
Yeah. So I guess for more, for Dungeons and Dragons, like the wizard only being able to cast once per day, it represents the amount of energy and study that goes into casting those spells in the world. And
it's a non-trivial amount of maintenance that needs to go into understanding your spells. Yeah,
and in Nethack, you forget spells after 20,000 turns because the universe hates you.
Well, hey, I don't know how many 20,000 turns, how much time that actually amounts for, but... Yeah,
there's like...
I'm just thankful they don't make you sleep sometimes in Nethack.
Yeah. Uh-oh. We feeling trapped. Oh, wait, we did detect traps. I see.
Okay.
So, more digging.
Oh, so they did detect traps so they could kind of find another room to go to.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, how much... I'm trying to look up like how many elemental planes you have to go through. First 4 levels. So there's earth, air, fire, and water, which seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now we're in the plane of air.
Yep.
So this is where the Ring of Free Action comes in, which I believe is another piece of the Ascension kit.
Okay, and then after that is, I guess, the astral plane. Takes 1 turn to walk a meter, so 2,500 turns is maybe half an hour, according to Miniature Catfish.
So that'd make a 20,000 turns. Let's see. 4 hours?
Yeah, okay. I could believe that in terms of, if you start looking at the magic spells as sort of this occult knowledge that is sort of almost beyond your physical ability to comprehend.
Well, Miniature Catfish is also making this up, so...
Oh. Well, sure, but okay, but...
It sounds
work
reasonable,
with me here. I'm starting to go down this terrible object-oriented ontology path. I'm looking for excuses to cite Eugene Thacker and Graham Harmon for some reason. That's the character representing you. Yeah,
it's moments like this where the differences in our academic backgrounds kind of get revealed.
Okay.
Yeah,
we haven't really talked about like kind of where all that stuff. Like I came into this because I was tired of writing about books, and like I'm basically like the experimental digital media program that I'm in is to be a very mean person, but pithy about it. It's basically an English program with delusions of relevance.
Ooh.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, it's rooted out of the English department. I mean, the instructor that is going to be supervising.
Oh no, we're in the 300s.
My MRP. Uh-oh.
Oh no. 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 Ah. Okay, good. Where's Gate? Oh, there's like 3 more air elementals. Get away.
This does not look...
Okay, so that trap okay, so the trap is actually the way out of the plane. I see. So we're working our way over toward that.
Okay.
Come on. Yes, okay.
354.
Go. Okay.
Okay, so they're
yellow lights.
They look like they're
steam vortex.
Steam vortex. That's pretty much just a steam sail. Yeah.
Like instead of chipping away your health, it chips away your money.
Yeah, it's just suddenly your bank account drained somehow. What happened? Oh.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, you're an at and it takes you 1 turn to move. That's about a meter. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Miniature catfish.
So yeah, I guess I'm kind of coming from...
Almost there.
Oh.
Yes!
Oh!
Fire!
Now everything is on fire. Your lamp is now on. So I've found lamps on earlier levels, and every time I rub them, nothing happens, and I get real profoundly sad about Nethack. But it's probably a bad idea for me to want to have a genie show up out of the lamp. I don't even know if that's a possibility.
It is. Okay. It's like when a lamp is generated, it has like something ridiculous, like a 1% or a 0.1% chance of containing a genie, and then like a fraction of that percentage it'll be a malicious genie.
Great.
So genies are hard to find. Usually you'll get a wish out of them. Very, very, very rarely you'll get flame fire vortexes.
This seems to be less of a problem.
Yeah, we seem to have fire resistance. Salamanders.
Okay. So my compulsively picking up lamps and rubbing them is not as self-destructive as I'd originally thought it was.
No, it's just that's a pretty good idea, especially if you're like actually trying to accomplish something for the first time, because that means and if you find the like one of the throne rooms, if you sit on the throne, what you do is, if you sit on the throne, it'll have random effects. So what the best strategy is to take all your items, put them in the chest that's in the room so that they can't be lost to the throne's effects, and then just keep sitting on the throne until either it vanishes or you get a wish.
Okay. Just sit naked on that throne and
just rub your naked self all over.
Yeah, I was to say this sounds like you're talking about DayZ for some reason. I'm just thinking of Futurama's hedonism bot. Hedonism bot plays Nethack. I would probably watch that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's generally where my background lies.
So I'm in this program called Emerging Media Communications. So we don't do so much in the way of game studies.
Sure.
Just in the way so much as we do general media studies with a focus on technology.
Okay.
So when we talk about game, it's not really from a design It's not really from a design perspective, and because of the nature of the students that are in the program, a lot of them are wanting to go into social media marketing. Oh, we've outbreathed. So the conversations, and since they're largely discussion-based courses, because humanities,
sure,
that's the way it tends to turn. So any like specifically game studies I engage in is usually of my own accord.
Sure.
Um, but between that and like studying social dynamics in open source software development, among other, like that's my particular interest. So roguelikes have been something I particularly picked up on because you go back to the stories of the shared time computer systems and have students having to be limited because they were all they'd be playing Adventure or NetHack.
Yeah.
It's such an integral part of it. Games like this are such an integral part of that history that the evolution is really fascinating to me.
Yeah. Well, especially looking at how that's kind of morphed when you look at the 7-day roguelike stuff and kind of the general like game jam nature.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is really, really fascinating to see how that kind of plays out. And also seeing how this stuff still continues to propagate in very weird sorts of ways. Like there are still very ambitious and deep roguelikes that are coming out and they're just free. And it's just like, how many hours did these people put into it?
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at the zombie apocalypse game Cataclysm roguelike. I don't know if have you played that?
No, I have like this massive roguelike backlog. I still have to get through some of the ones off of the roguelike bundle.
Oh yeah, it's Cataclysm's on my list mostly because I'm waiting for the day that someone who's really, really hard into roguelikes is going to come across my stuff where I'm like, the term roguelike's not all that useful. Let's start using procedural death labyrinth, which is something I'm eventually going to start using. Ebonair took me a couple months. I feel like I recognize.
That's one of the NetHack forks, right?
So is this David McCallum?
Ebonair made a roguelike.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's cool.
A graphic telnet client for NetHack.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
It includes graphics for most creatures, items, and dungeon features. I assume. Unless I'm talking about a different thing.
This is what I'm looking at.
Other.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So our stream looks very archaic to you then. That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm playing it now. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. We should probably get you on an interview at some point. That'd be cool.
Yeah, if this is assuming David McCallum's stash is you.
Yeah. That's the only Ebonair I'm seeing.
Graduate of Computer Science at the University of Manitoba. You're in Canada. Hooray!
Crud, that was 2 against 1.
No. Yeah, of course we're directly addressing the person who is currently like fighting like fire demons all over the place. And it's still starting to talk to us. Okay.
Yeah, that's your website. Okay, cool.
Well, I'm gonna bookmark that and then.
Yeah. We'll come back to this. We'll stream Ebonair.
Yeah, we'll be coming back to NetHack at some point.
Yeah, so we'll use that for our next stream.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Very cool.
It's the drinking problem that's self-destructive in NetHack. So many potion pool and fountain deaths.
Yeah. I had a thought and then it completely disappeared. Yeah, it's... But what I found interesting is sort of the non-standard, like what I've been doing now when I've been seriously trying to learn how to play it, properly, has been sort of learning the patience to find, non-standard ways to kind of get a sense of an item's identity.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be one of the main keys to success in this game. Dipping things in potions or fountains. Waiting to see if your pet walks over an item to tell if it's cursed or not.
Yeah. So this is a weird question. Like, if my pet picks up an item and brings it to me, I assume that it's probably not cursed.
Pets will not even walk over cursed items.
Right.
So if you like wait several turns and your pet just refuses to walk on a square where an item is, it's a pretty safe bet that it's cursed.
Okay, that's good to know. So I was doing that properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, learning stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you find a gem, trying to engrave in the ground, and if it just writes in the dust or whatever, it's mostly just worthless glass, stuff like that.
Did not know that one.
What? Oh, okay.
That's
I'm pretty sure that's correct. Or
I knew about the like the whetstones, but I didn't know you could just do it with the ground.
yeah, I've just tried to engrave Elbereth whenever I find a like whatever it's like a gemstone,
Mm-hmm.
and then if it just writes in the dust, every time I've figured that out and then identified
Yeah.
the gem later, it's come out as
Oh, that's wands, not
Oh,
gems. Okay.
So maybe I just happen to be lucky that or unlucky. All the stuff that I wound up identifying later on was worthless glass, but okay,
Yeah.
good to know. Huh. Yeah, it's all of that stuff where you don't necessarily you have to actively engage with your items. You're not waiting for okay, well just need to wait until I find a scroll of identify because those are
Yeah, yeah. I was doing that initially, and when I started playing this week, I was just like, no, this is not a viable strategy. So I actually started reading scrolls to try to figure out what they were, and and that actually led me to a lot more success in the game.
mm-hmm.
So part of it is like figuring out how to be safe, but also learning to take smart risks when you absolutely need to
Yeah.
for gains later on. Which a lot of well-designed roguelikes seem like Risk of Rain is in the title, of course, but like that whole running around for shops versus trying to blaze through as quickly as possible. Spelunky has it in the pretty much everywhere, actually. Like grabbing the idols or playing the Wheel of Fortune or doing things that might potentially anger shopkeepers.
Yeah.
Um,
The mobile game Hoplite has similar stuff where you'll find a shrine on every level that will it'll either heal you or it'll give you a small like a boost to one of your standard abilities, but it'll also give you like a very context specific ability like in later levels, but it will also take health away from you. Like it'll take hearts off of your overall health. That idea that like there's a sort of risk reward, and you're trying to sort of minimize some of those aspects and then maximize other things, and in some cases it's also conditional on your play style. Like, is this worthwhile to do this, knowing how you generally handle these situations?
right.
So like in my case, I'm probably playing that game wrong because for the most part, I just go for the health and I try to stay away from the very specific abilities that could potentially make me vulnerable because I make really dumb mistakes because I don't really pay attention. Oh.
I blew a charge on the orb, so have to search for...
Poor.
Oh, man.
Okay.
That's rough.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're now hitting 10 o'clock here. Oh, God.
Yeah. Do you need to get going?
I should go to bed at some point.
Do you get up early or?
Yeah, I gotta get up early in the morning.
Okay.
But I still have to like kind of get stuff ready for bed, so I can probably like keep this going for a bit.
Yeah.
If you wanted to kind of keep commenting, and I can check in about 15 minutes or so. Or do you
I'll have a hard time keeping it up myself. Can you just leave the computer running and
Sure.
have it stream out the rest of the time? Maybe we can dub over it when we post to YouTube later if we want to.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, cool. Ebonair, good luck. We're gonna keep the stream running.
I'm gonna
and
try to come back and catch the end of this miniature catfish. So I might swing back in a little bit. But
yeah, actually, hmm. Yeah, I'm going to step away for a moment, but yeah, I'll come back by in a moment.
all right,
So,
you may hear a cat come in occasionally, but I'll be
all right.
I'll be back soon.
Oh, wait, Ebonair. Oh, Ebonair's got to go to bed. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh.
we can
Yeah,
tomorrow. What? I guess what time and time zone did you actually start today, Ebonair?
yeah, I've got my evenings free tomorrow for the most part.
Yeah, same here.
Um,
Yeah, we stream at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I know I realize you're trying to talk to us while. Um,
okay,
1 hour, so
so 9 Eastern,
8
and
Central.
8 Central.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
How about this is so roundabout.
This is
7:30 Central,
which is 8:30 Eastern.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, we'll see you then, Ebonair.
All right, thank you so much, by the way.
Yeah,
Ebonair, for,
this has been amazing.
Yeah.
And if you want to, he is let's see, my email is actually harrison.massey@gmail. So if you have a Skype account, we can add you onto the voice tomorrow. If you wanna join us for the commentary.
Yeah, I'll take a look at your website and see if there's.
We'll shoot you a message. All right, cool. Have a good night.
So this has been episode 4.0 of Death of the Roguelike. This went way longer than I figured it was going to.
Yeah,
we were at the 2-hour mark, but this has been really, really fascinating. So I'm absolutely down to come back tomorrow and watch Ebonair ascend.
All right, excellent.
So again, follow myself on Twitter at robotparking, or follow Harrison at I'm about us.
Yes.
I am about us.
Yeah.
Or just follow the Twitch stream.
Yeah. We should make a Twitter account for this.
DMC Callum 9. Okay, I'll add you on.
Okay. Cool.
All right. I'm gonna turn off the stream now. But
all right.
Thanks for watching, everybody, as well, and thanks for your commentary. Miniature catfishes. That's been really, really cool.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.